you start today and you found your space in the room that you're going to be practicing in, go ahead and start to move down to the floor. If resting flat on the back just doesn't really sit well with you today, that's all right. You know that you always have options. You can certainly start with bent knees, or maybe you start with straight legs. Maybe you add a prop underneath the back of your head or underneath your knees, anything that's going to help you feel a little bit more settled and grounded into the earth. I like to start us on our backs because it's just a wonderful way to get grounded, to bring yourself to the earth, feel it underneath of your body, and allow you to start to breathe. So I see that most of you have settled yourself down into the ground. A few of you are still kind of adjusting your environment, which is quite all right. I know sometimes it's hard to practice at home. There's so many distractions, so many things that pop out. That's why we all can't wait to get back into the studio, I know. But with that said, we'll open today's practice with a great reading. I really, really like this reading. Today it's short and simple, and the theme is pay attention. Today's practice is to do one thing at a time. Turn off the car radio and drive. Talk on the phone without working on the computer. Eat without watching television. Notice when you pay attention, you can enjoy what you are doing. Life, much more. Pay attention. Today's practice is to do one thing at a time. Now, obviously, as we move through a yoga class themed around flow, it is a little difficult to do one thing at a time because I'm going to encourage you today to breathe as much as you can, matching it with your physical movement. But you can pay attention. You can tune in to what's happening in the physical body as you move and breathe and flow through each pose. You can pay attention to what happens to your emotions, to the space that you're creating by allowing your mind to sift and settle back into place. You can pay attention to what you're letting go of, what no longer is serving you, things, anxieties, emotions, anything that just doesn't really sit well with us today. Let's let that go. So start here by paying attention to your breath. Allowing your inhale to deepen and your exhale to deepen. Create a little bit of space at the end of the inhale and at the end of the exhale. Thinking about your breath having 4 separate parts. Create space. If the legs have been long, we'll go ahead and invite the knees to start to bend, feet walking up a little closer to the body. Bring your right knee in towards your chest. Keep your left foot on the floor. Point and flex your toes. Roll around your ankle a little bit on that right side. And then we'll bring the hands to the back of the thigh and extend that right foot up towards the ceiling. Again, rolling the ankle, pointing and flexing the toes. Exhale and hug this right knee down into the chest. And then bring the right foot back to earth, switch sides. Left knee moves into the chest, point and flex the toes, roll around the ankle. And shift to the back of the thigh, take your time, extend that leg tall, point and flex, roll around your ankle. Left knee brings itself down into the body. Hug it in one more time. And then let both feet move to the earth as their knees rock to the left and to the right. Just take your time. Windshield wipering those knees, allowing for a little twisting to move in the spine. One more sweep all the way from one side to the other. And then we'll hug both knees into the chest. Hands can stay on the fronts of the kneecaps, or you can hug all the way forward towards the shins, or grab onto the backs of the thighs. Let this rock a little bit all over the place. And then start to extend both feet up towards the ceiling. Point flex the toes. Hands are rested perhaps comfortably on the backs of the thighs. And then we'll have both knees in and give ourselves a little rocking forward and back. Maybe a couple extra today before you come all the way up to your seat. And when you get to your seat, go ahead and just take yourself into bound angle if that feels okay in the hips. Soles of the feet meet one another. Knees fall out and open to the sides. Today I've got some different props around me. Blocks, the chair, I'm going to use the wall. There's all kinds of stuff that I might reach my hands to today. So as you start to get up onto our hands and knees here in a moment, if that stuff isn't near you, go ahead and reach for it and get it closer to your mat. When you're ready, start to lift these knees up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to bring the right knee down to the earth. And your left foot is going to just stay crisscrossed over top of those legs. I hope you can see me. I think you can see what I'm doing here. Hands move towards the front of this left shin, and we're just going to sit tall. My right hand stays towards that left shin, or maybe even over here towards the knee, as the left hand reaches towards the ceiling, and you add a little twist. Every once in a while, my brain doesn't remember my right from my left. All right, start to bring that back towards center, a little twist there. And then we're just gonna take this leg that's on top and just let it step a little bit further over. For some of you, it's just gonna move just on the outer edge of that knee. For others, you might be able to get your knees a little bit more lined up. This is a really big hip opener to start with today though, so if it doesn't feel real great to you, take something more modified and just kind of breathe into the shape. Just giving a little love early on to those outer hips. All right, start to unwind from that, especially if that feels a little too much for your knees. And I'm gonna just bring both of my feet back to a starting place, knees back up to the ceiling, so that now I can bring my left leg down first. My left knee hits the earth. And I kind of just sit nice and tall. My other foot's just sitting right in front of that knee. On my screen, my leggings look almost the exact same color as all the mat stuff around me. So I feel like my leggings are blending into the earth. You can't see what I'm doing. Right arm lifts, add the twist just as we did before. Spine is nice and tall, chin is away from your chest, come away from that twist. And then option to let this top foot go a little further around that twist. So it may sit right on the outer edge of that knee. You might be lining up your knees a little bit more, bringing the heels of your feet back towards your hips. See if you can find a tall spine. You should feel a pretty nice stretch along the outer edges of the hips. But if something starts to ache or hurt or feel like it's just too much, don't go so far. All right, perfect. Start to come out of that shape. Okay, let's move on to hands and knees. We did a pretty decent job there getting the hips stretched. So we're going to move into a little bit more tabletop related poses. So, like I said before, keep some blocks handy in case you want those. Wrists around your shoulders, knees around your hips. Feel free to reach for a blanket if you need that. And invite in a couple cat-cows. We haven't done much for the spine in this practice yet, so give yourself a few rounds of cat-cow, paying attention to the way the spine feels, how deep these poses might need to be in your own physical body, or how shallow. The next time you come to that same angry cat spine, Let's go ahead and sit the hips back onto the heels. Walk the hands as far forward as you can get them. If you do have a block handy, it might be nice to reach for that. Let your fingertips dangle over the top. Maybe get a little more lift out of the shoulders here. Of course, if you don't have a block, it's not required. Hands can rest on the earth. You can even kind of tint the fingers, bring them up onto their fingertips as your hips sit a little closer towards those heels. On your next natural inhale breath, bring yourself back up to build table. Right hand stays on the earth. Inhale, left hand lifts and opens for a little twist. Exhale, slide this left hand right across the mat. And then inhale it back up to the sky. So you're just floating a little bit here with a twisting motion. We're going to have a twist about middle of the practice that's going to involve a little balance and twist. So I want to make sure we're nice and open for that. Last one. Next time this hand's up to the sky, go ahead and stay there. Breathe on through and then allow this hand that's lifted to the sky to start circling forward, reaching for the front of your mat until it comes back down and finds the earth. Left hand opens, lifts, and then that same motion. I'm a little close to the wall, so I'm going to scoot away. Left or right hand rather slides itself across the mat. So you just long as you're doing the opposite side as you were just doing before. Even if you're not quite at the same rhythm as me, that's all right. You're just moving through this reach and then sliding it around the mat. And this pace might be the same as you did the other side, or your breath might be encouraging you to kind of pick up the pace. And then hold that hand to the ceiling on your next round. Allow it to start reaching forward as you circle forward towards the front of the mat. Hands sink down into the earth. All right, as you feel ready, toes curl under. First down dog of this practice. Hips are lifted nice and high. Your knees probably want to bend here a little bit, but you obviously have tabletop or child's pose always there at your disposal. So if you need to drop to the earth, reposition and reset, feel free. All right, when you feel ready, knees are going to drop back down to ground. Right hand immediately is going to reach forward. Left toes are going to lift. Take yourself into a balancing table. See what you can do with the alignment of your body. Pay attention to the reach from the right hand, the reach from the left toes. And then starting to bend this back knee, we're going to reach back with this lifted right hand and see if we can make connection with this left foot. If the connection doesn't want to be had, bring that left knee down, bring your hands to your low back, take a little modification there. Maybe you can reach once you've got that knee on the earth, and then you can lift it. But just take your time. Your balance isn't going to be perfect. The pose may not feel just as comfortable as you'd like it to. That's all right. All that's good. Knee comes down to the ground. Release the hand. Bring it back forward. Curl toes under. Downward facing dog. Walk this out. All right, as you feel ready, we're going to drop knees back to earth. This time, right foot extends, left hand. Knowing that if you had some accessories nearby, this reaching hand can always settle on a chair, could settle on a block, or can continue to reach out into space. Bending this back knee, we're going to see if we can take the left hand around to make that same connection. Connecting with foot, adding a little kick, some push out of the top of that foot. Remembering your knee can always come down to earth. You can take a little more modification here if you need to, just having a little twist happening there. Or maybe the grab happens with the foot on the earth. This is a big shape, so give yourself some credit, whatever version you are in right now. Knee comes down to earth, hand comes away from that foot, let it come back forward, curl your toes under, downward facing dog to reset. Walk it out. As the next natural exhale comes around, right knee is going to drop to the ground, right hand comes directly underneath your forehead. Turn your left foot on its side. Slide the right foot just slightly behind you. Start to open up for a little bit of a modified side plank. Hand might reach the sky like we look like our half moon we're going to try to do later, or we might get a little more side body opening by reaching this hand up and over the head, bicep towards ear. Perfect. Let that hand that's reaching forward just spiral its way down to earth. Spin the knee back underneath it. Push through the toes on both feet. Get a little stretch in that back leg, the longest leg, your left leg, calf. Toes curl under. Step your right foot back. Put yourself back in downward facing dog. Walk it out. Just as you did before, left knee drops to the ground. Left hand comes just underneath the face. Our left toes might peek slightly behind us as our right inside turns, and we open up for side plank on this side. Now it might resemble that half moon shape with a hand reaching to the sky, or we might start bringing bicep down towards ear to get a little more for the side body. Stay in that space, continue to breathe. Lifted hand starts to circle its way down to earth, spin on this left knee, push the toes towards the ground, heel goes back on that long back right leg. And then we transition ourselves to downward facing dog, stepping left foot back to meet your right, walk it out. Small steps with the feet, start walking forward towards the front of your mat, forward fold. Reaching for blocks if you like them here. Let them be a part of your pose if that feels nice in the spine. When you're ready, a half lift extends the spine long, crown of the head reaching towards the front of your mat. Exhale, fold. Plant those feet. Number 11, let your hands reach up tall. Exhale, bring them to the heart. Half sun salutation. So this is where we look for length on the inhale. We exhale, hinge at those hip creases and fold towards the earth. Half lift, takes that long spine. Exhale, fold. These look awesome. Good work. Inhale, reach the hands all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Keep going, friends. Hands reach up. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Plant the feet. Inhale, reach these hands up nice and tall. Exhale, let them float down to heart. Now I'm going to turn just so I can see you, but you can stay facing the same way. Inhale, hands reach up tall. Exhale, lean to the right. Inhale, back to center. Watching that low back. Make sure we're not arching the back. Keep the pelvis nice and flat. Hands come back to center. Exhale, hands float down and find your heart. Beautiful work. Hands on either sides of the body. Rested here near your hips. Next natural inhale, breath, hands sweep up towards the ceiling. Exhale, hinge and fold down towards the mat. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, drop, hands back to the earth. Right foot steps back, right knee kisses the earth. Inhale, breath, hands come tall. Exhale, breath, right hand looks for the floor, left hand stays lifted, add a twist, sinking into that front knee. Inhale, both hands come up. Exhale, both hands go down. Start to straighten this front knee. Toes are gonna flex back towards your face. We're gonna try that same sequence again. Flatten the foot. Inhale to lift. Right hand looks for the ground. Inhale both up. Exhale both down. Toes start to flex back towards your face. Sit into your back knee. Beautiful. Inhale, come back up to a little rested lunge there on that knee. Exhale, hands look for earth. Front foot steps to the back of the mat. Half plank to start. Wrists under shoulders, knees behind the hips. Lowering down into the earth, elbows close to the body. One cobra lift when you feel ready. Back to the earth. We're going to walk these hands back, even with the breastbone if they aren't already there. Elbows nice and close, toes under. Push to half plank, high plank, or move yourself to that downward dog in whatever fashion seems to make the most sense to your low back. All right, we need our left knee on the ground, so left knee is going to drop, right foot steps through. Inhale, reach. Exhale, left hand looks for the ground, right hand has the twist. Inhale, lift. Exhale, both hands look for the ground, shift the weight, toes back towards your face. Drop this foot back into earth, reach the hands back up tall, inhale, breath. Exhale, left hand comes down, right hand stays tall. Inhale, both hands up. Exhale, both hands down, weight shifts back, toe moves back towards your face. Perfect, shifting that back forward. One more round, just a nice settled low lunge. Hands come down and look for earth. Vinyasa of choice this time. You can be on your knees or you can be in that high plank. If you choose high plank, make sure that you've got that lift through your low back, not a saggy low back. Exhale, bend the elbows, let them kiss. Inhale, maybe up dog or cobra. And then transition as the body feels ready. Take yourself to that downward facing dog. Pay attention to your breath here. What's it telling your body? Do you need to pull in more oxygen? Do you need to drop to your knees? Do you need more movement through your knees or your hips? Spread the fingers nice and wide. Reposition the weight within your hands. Beautiful. Small steps with both feet, walking forward towards the front of your mat. Half lifting when you feel ready. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach the hands as high as they can go. Exhaling down to the heart. One more round of that same crescent. Inhaling, reaching hands up nice and tall. Lean to the right. Keeping that low back from pushing the rear out behind you. Inhale back to center. Go the other way. So it takes a lot of attention to the pelvis because naturally we want to kind of stick our tush out when we take those crescents. Make sure that you can keep that nice and flat. Inhale, bring hands back to center. Exhale, hands to heart. Let the hands drop down by the hips. Inhale, reach, bend the knees, chair pose. Nice, long, extended spine. Hands drop back by hips. Lift the heels. Keeping those heels lifted, see if you can inhale, reach the hands above the head, and then exhale, settle back, let the heels drop. Inhale, chair pose, sit, hands come up. Exhale, sweep the hands back by the hips. Inhale, lift the heels, hold. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lift, hands come up overhead. See if the heels can stay up off the ground. And then exhale, drop them down. Good work. Let's try it one more time. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, sweep the hands back by the hips. Keep it long. Inhale, lift the heels. Hold. Exhale. Inhale, hands lift, heels stay lifted. Oh. Exhale, let it settle down. Perfect. Good work. Last series of chair, but we're not gonna add all those fancy additions. Just inhale, sink. Exhale, fold. Half lift. Fold. Right foot steps back. Spin the right heel so that it touches the floor. Left knee is bent. You're looking for warrior one. Hips are ideally squared up the mat. Back toes have a slight turnout. Keeping the belly in. Kind of imagining kind of pulling these ribs to protect our spine. Perfect work. Exhale, let the hands drop, chest drops, hands sweep back, similar to that chair we just played with. Inhale, bring it back up. Good, 2 more. Pay attention to the pattern of your breath. Pay attention to the length of that exhale when you fold. And drink in just as much breath on that inhale, hands to lift up. Exhale, this time as the hands come to earth, let them fall. Drop this back knee down to the ground. Walk your front foot a little further over towards the edge of the mat. Take a little lizard shape here. Both of my hands are in between, or in the middle of my mat. You can keep this front foot grounded, or if you have the space to kind of roll on those toes a little bit, you might allow that knee to fold out to the side. Those of you looking for something a little more, this back knee might bend. You've got your left foot forward, so you might reach your left hand back. A bigger stretch there if that shape feels good in your quads. All right, good work, friends. Hands are gonna come back through if they aren't already in the middle of your mat. Start to walk this knee back a little more to center. Toes curl under, hips lift up. Optional vinyasa here if you'd like. You can shift forward to whatever version of plank you like. Exhale down. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Transitioning to your down dog. Also knowing child's pose is waiting right here. Or puppy pose even. Maybe that feels good to keep your knees planted, hips high, but walk your hands further forward. So lots of options. All right, friends, if you've been in downward facing dog or child's pose, either one, get yourself in a position where you're ready to get back to a forward fold. Hopping, stepping, taking your time to the front of your mat. Half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, put yourself back into a chair. Exhale, fold. Half lift. Exhale, fold. Left foot steps back, left heel turns. Warrior one on the other side. Got a nice bend in that knee. Hips are square. Thinking about drawing in that rib cage just as you did before. Protect the spine by engaging a little bit more through the core. Not allowing your back to just sag. You want to feel powerful and strong. These are warrior poses, so they should exude that energy out of you. Taking your time, exhaling to fold. Hands reach back. And then move with the breath. Letting your body feel that energy. Paying attention to the length of the inhale and the exhale. Letting yourself start to reach these hands back to earth, twisting on those back toes so knee can drop. Moving both hands to the middle of your stance here. Right foot might work its way towards the right edge of the mat. Right toes might open. as this knee kind of falls out to the side. Yeah, you can't see me anymore in that direction either. This is where like a live cameraman would be really helpful to tilt the camera for me. So I don't know that I could handle the pressure of a camera crew. I like being alone with my computer. All right, so your lizard feels good. Maybe your right knee's out to the side. Maybe you're reaching your right hand back to make connection with that foot. If you did that on the other side, this might feel nice on this side, or it might be a little too much. Remembering you can take whatever shapes work for you. It's really important that if we are going to try to work to some big balance work today, that our hips are open, strong, that our side body has been prepped and ready. Our hamstrings are open. All right, take your time, start to move through this. Hands coming back, knees standing up, walking it back to the center, and then you've got those same options you had last time. Down dog, child's pose, puppy pose, maybe a modified vinyasa where you're on your knees this time. And you take knees, chest, chin, and then a little cobra. Maybe you're thinking, you know, up dog still might feel really nice even if I modified. Wherever you are in that series of movement is quite all right. Even if it ends up in a child's pose and you just want a little space here to breathe, take it. Or if you're feeling strong today and you want more movement, separate your feet a little bit in that down dog, rock your hips. Maybe play with three-legged dog and lift one leg or the other. Not feeling forced to move too much if the body's saying, nope, just give me a chance to breathe here. I want to pay attention to what my body's feeling and then feed it. Give it what it needs. Pay attention. All right, take your time. Slow walk feet up towards your hands. Hang in that forward fold. Inhale to come up halfway. Exhale to fold. Inhale, lift the hands all the way up to the side. Exhale, hands to heart, settle in here. All right, give yourself time to breathe. Adjust the low back, make sure we're not letting it sway out too far behind us. Hands settling into the chest, eyes might even close, palm to palm. Slow, controlled breath. All right, our next series we're going to move through would probably be helpful if we had a couple things, either a yoga block or a chair nearby. So if you have either one of those, let's get it in place. It's going to go at the head of your mat. So I'm going to have both handy because I want to be able to show you both ways. If you're lucky enough to be practicing in a room like I am, where there's a wall somewhere nearby, you might move yourself so you're a little closer to the wall. Sometimes that can be a helpful thing to have as well. All right, we're going to stand nice and tall on our mats, just as you were doing. Really ground through your feet, hands to the heart. This series is going to have a warrior 3, as well as a half moon in it. So it's got 2 rounds of balance, and I know you can handle it. I know you've got the strength in you, and you'll pay attention to your own body and find the modifications that maybe work if you feel like you need those. When you feel ready, an inhale breath reaches our hands high above our head, and then exhale, let this settle into your heart. Left foot's going to step back first, just for a big left crescent. Hands sweep up nice and tall. Exhale, turn the chest and the arms towards the right. Make a T. Inhale, bring this back up tall. Exhale, hands are going to either shoot forward as you move to warrior 3, or they can settle onto your chair, or even reach down to the floor, or you're blocked. One more breath. We're not going to hold it too long. Exhale, let those toes go settle back to the earth. Inhale, back up to your crescent. Exhale, spin on that back foot. Turn it to warrior two. Front knee bends, arms stretch long. Take your front hand, flip, and reverse. Back to your warrior two. Elbow drops towards knee. Side angle. A little gentler maybe than your traditional side angle might have been. And then bring it back to warrior two. Weight's gonna shift forward towards this front foot. Hands either gonna reach for a block or the seat of the chair. And then shift yourself into your version of half moon today. Back leg is lifted, toes are flexed, standing leg working for balance. Gaze is either straight out in the room, towards the floor, or the most advanced version might be up towards the ceiling. Taking your time, let the hands sweep down, foot settles back. Look for that same warrior two. Taking just as much care getting out, reverse warrior, as you took getting in. Back to side angle. Front elbow drops, hand reaches up over the head. Back to warrior two. All right, we're gonna sweep these hands down to the sides, take it back to a crescent. Then you're gonna step this foot up to meet your front foot. Hands come to the heart. Exhale. Inhale, reach the hands up over the head. Exhale, let them settle back to the heart. Step the right foot back this time. Crescent lunge on this side. Hands reach up. Exhale, add the twist, turning towards that front knee. Arms look for T. Inhale, bring that back up. Exhale, take your time. Warrior three. Hands looking for the seat, the top, the blocks, or you can just reach out into space here for your warrior three. Remembering that warrior three, your hips are nice and square. Perfect. Take your time. Lifted leg starts to look back for earth. Put yourself back in that crescent. Spin on the back toes, warrior two. Front knee bends. Settle in. Make sure your warrior is in good alignment. Front hand flips, reverse. Warrior two. Side angle. Length through the fingers. Nice bend in that front knee. Back to warrior two. This is where we look for our half moon. Maybe hand goes to seat or block. Take your time. Gazing this time might go straight out into the room. Flexing that lifted foot helps activate all the muscles on this leg. Makes it a little more helpful. Keeping those hips adjusted. Perfect, starting to settle that back. Foot moves back into earth just as it was in before, taking just as much care to get out as you did to get in. Reverse. Back to warrior two. Side angle. Back to warrior two. Spinning on these back toes. Crescent. Big step, hands to heart. Let the body settle. One more breath. I'm going to give your body space for its own decision this time. We're going to do one more balance. You can choose to play with warrior three again, which is one leg on the ground, arms extended out and forward, or you can play with your half moon one more time. Let's start with the balance happening on our right leg first. So this time, if you think, you know what, we're gonna hold it a little bit longer, I'd like to have one of those props you talked about, go grab it. Or if you wanna move yourself somewhere in the space so that you can use the wall, if you're going to do half moon with right leg on the wall, maybe put your right hip all the way up against the wall, start to reach your right hand down for a block, or even just going onto the floor or that chair. Match your hip onto the wall and open up. If you don't have the luxury of a big open wall like I have, that's okay. You can do this out in space. Or you can just be playing with traditional warrior 3. If this shape feels too big for you today, maybe you're just not in the mood to go this far, feel free to just play with warrior 3. Holding that half moon shape, good. Nice lifted legs of those of you I can see. If you've been holding this entire time, take your time to come out. I think warrior, little reverse feels good in my side body. Whatever natural pose makes sense to you. Maybe even a triangle. And then just start to settle. Let your hips relax. Maybe you need a little bit of movement. And then we're ready for our left side. So today, how I threw this chair prop in, I think you can see how chair yoga can be more than just what you might think chair yoga is. So if you have a chance to explore the content library, maybe pull up one of those chair yogas. It might be fun for you to play with the chair and use it to get a little deeper into certain practices. All right, if you're gonna play with your left leg for that half moon, if you have a wall nearby, even just to put your hand on, that might feel good. Or you just turn yourself so you're facing the other direction. Use your wall so that your left hip is on it this time. A little bit of playtime. We have this when we're in the studio space, this time where I kind of encourage you to move in the poses a little more. Hold it if you just got there. Those of you who've been holding for a little while, you can of course come down, but just stay as long as you need. Let your body move in ways that make sense to counteract any kind of big shapes we've been in today. This is about your last little bit of standing poses before we're going to work our way down to the earth. So if there's anything else that the body's asking for that you know might feel nice standing here, feel free. All right. And then just get yourself in a place where you're ready to start moving down towards the mat. Now I'm going to keep my chair handy because since I brought it close to the room today, I think I might use it for Savasana. If you brought a chair close to you, maybe keep it handy so you can use it for Savasana. If you know you got an open wall, you might choose that as well. I'm going to go down into a squat. My hips feel plenty open from the lizard and other things I played with today, so I'm going to keep my knees together for more of a traditional squat. I'm going to even give a little bit more rounding into my back than I might always do. Or might always avoid doing, I guess is what I should have said. Just to let the upper back have a little bit more space in between those shoulder blades. Of course, knowing you can always skip squats, bringing your seat down to the earth and just hugging the knees in towards the chest. This is ultimately where we're going to end up anyway. All right, as you feel ready, start to transition yourself back onto your back. Again, like I said, if you want to have a chair or a block or something handy for a little last minute inversion, feel free. Knees moving their way into the chest if that feels like the most natural progression there. And then we'll let our feet settle down into the earth. I'm going to encourage a recline twist here if that feels like it might make sense in your body. You might start by bringing your left knee into your chest. Maybe your right leg goes long down the mat. Maybe that makes sense to you. Others might keep a slight bend in that knee just to help settle the low back into the earth. When you feel ready, you're going to welcome this knee over and across the body to give a little twisting shape here, stopping wherever it feels good enough. Some of you are going to bring it all the way to the floor. Some of you are going to stop it before it gets there. Opposite arm might reach out to the side. Nose might turn in the direction of the knee or toward the ceiling. We're definitely getting to the part of the practice where things are going to slow down. If your music is too loud or the tone of the music just isn't really vibing with the end of your practice, feel free to adjust that. And then we'll start bringing this back to the middle, easing it back in. You can move around here through that hip. You might even choose to elevate the foot up towards the ceiling. And then just take your time, let that move down towards earth. Switching sides when you feel ready. Opposite knee moves itself in. Maybe the other knee keeps a gentle bend, or maybe it feels nice to let it go long. And then we'll invite this knee over and across the body. Opposite arm reaches out to the side if it hasn't already done so. Maybe it's long, or maybe if the space doesn't allow, it's in more of a cactus shape. Gaze can be at the ceiling, in the direction of that bent knee, or maybe in the complete opposite direction. Take your time to unwind from that shape. Maybe the knee gets hugged in a little bit more, or you can switch the grip. Bringing the knee down towards the chest. And then just pay attention. See what the body might be asking for here. Perhaps reclined down angle might feel nice, letting the soles of the feet meet one another, knees falling out and open to the side. Maybe hands resting on the belly for some gentle breath. We do have space and time for one more inversion if the body is asking for that. Feel free. That gentle inversion might be something very simple, legs up the wall, or if you have that chair handy, you can certainly put your heels, or you can move a little closer to it and put the backs of your calves along the seat of the chair. Or like I said, if you had a wall nearby, you could shift so that your legs are at the wall. For those of you with a block, might be putting a block underneath the sacrum to add even a little more lift. In either one of those options, with the feet on the chair, the feet on the wall, or just lifting them up for more of a waterfall pose out in space. I'm going to give you the option to stay in these inversions as long as you'd like. If you found yourself with legs at the wall or legs on a chair, you can finish class in that shape. That might feel really nice to you today. If you are more traditionalist and you'd like to bring yourself to just a traditional savasana, feel free. Remembering traditional savasana just looks like legs long down the mat. Maybe your toes rolling towards the outer edges. Bringing in flock props if you have them, want them. Maybe an eye pillow or a blanket. But the work is over. The physical asana has come to an end. All of the linked poses with your breath. These final moments today are just set aside for you to pay attention. Notice the magic. Notice how the body feels as it starts to settle. Thinking almost as all of the physical actions you've taken your body through, the emotions that arise when you hit the pose just like you wanted, or maybe struggle a little bit in maintaining balance. Pay attention to everything that you were able to observe today, and then just release it. This is your time to let everything sit and settle back into place, only holding on to what we need the most. Allowing everything else to just wash away. Sit and settle. Wash away. Paying attention to the muscles of the face, allowing them to relax with each exhale breath. Cheeks feel softer, the tongue within your mouth, the muscles of the neck, the upper back, the arms. Let that same feeling of calm move its way down your spine, through the hips, down the legs, all the way to the tips of your toes. Staying in that space for a few more breaths. Slowly starting to become aware of your breath. Allowing gentle movements to come back into the body. You might have finished your class today in an inversion, so it might make sense to slowly move yourself off the wall or off the chair. If you've been flat on the earth, maybe a bend or two in the knees, rocking side to side. Maybe resting on your right, bringing your arm to make a pillow. Just take your time. working your way towards a seat only when you feel ready. No rush. As we start to close out this practice today, I'm going to leave you with one more final reading entitled Welcome Home. Dear blessed one, I want you to know that here you are welcome. Here you belong. Here you are enough. Welcome home. Sincerely, your heart. Dear blessed one, I want you to know that you are here, welcome, you belong, you are enough. Welcome home. Sincerely, your heart. I greatly appreciate you taking this time for yourself, not only for your physical body, but also for your heart, mind, your spirit, everything. Come and sit alongside us. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you again. Namaste.